Good job, brother. So I'm loud, y'all probably be able to hear me. My name is Anthony Broadus. I'm in recovery. You know that things come full circle. It's awesome I got to see Darren speak because I was working dark when he came in his phase one. You know what I mean? I got to watch him go all the way through the program. I worked at dark for him. But I'll jump into my story. The program I follow tells me I'm supposed to tell you what life was like back then, what happened, and where I'm at now. So I'll jump right into it. My recovery date is 12/28/2012 from heroin. Right? Now you all can applaud, but I will tell you, don't be too happy because I live recovery just like anybody else. I can get higher shit tomorrow.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Just for today, I'm gonna be sober. Tomorrow ain't got here yet.
Yeah.
In my life, even though I got almost 11 years sober, is a fucking train wreck. I'm not very PG. You know what I mean? I've got 2.5 hours to be here to share with you guys. And I appreciate you all inviting me down here. So just hang with me. I jump around a lot, man, but I keep you interactive. I grew up in Bloomfield, Kentucky. Anybody know where that is?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah. Alright, good deal. Because when they asked me to come here, I had no idea where I was going. They just said I need you to speak, and I'm coming. Because if somebody needs to hear some hope, I'm on my way. If I would drive 2.5 hours to pick up some dope, I'm going to drive 2.5 hours to get somebody to hope. You hear me?
Woo, that's right.
Amen.
I said there, man, I was born in Bloomfield. My mom and dad never dated. Never dated. They made it a county fair. You take one of them bottles, you throw a baseball at it, knock it over, right? My daddy won my mom a prize at the fair. About probably an hour or two later, his sweet talker, she took him behind the Ferris wheel, gave him his prize at the fair. 9 months later, you got this little guy standing in front of you, right? That's real, man. Come on. So my mom found out that she was pregnant, and we're from a little podunk town. We ain't got a stoplight, nothing. And in the country, as this place is too, so y'all can probably agree with me, getting pregnant out of wedlock is frowned upon, right?
Yep.
So my mom's parents wanted her to have an abortion because everybody in town was talking. Well, she didn't have an abortion. She carried me full time. I was born, and my grandparents made her give me up for adoption. Luckily, my dad's parents got a lawyer, and they ended up adopting me and raising me. Now, everything you hear me telling my story is of my own doing. Like, my grandparents loved me to death, gave me everything in the world I could have wanted, spoiled me to death, you know what I mean? But what I really wanted was attention from my real parents, which I never got. So I looked for attention in a lot of places that I shouldn't have, right? First time I ever got molested when I was 5 years old. Now, as men, we don't talk about that kind of stuff, right? Because we want to look at it as tough, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't want people to look at us a certain type of way. What happened was, my neighbor, man, his parents would buy him a lot of toys. My parents would buy me, and he was older. You know, so I'd go over there and hang out and play. Well, one day he decided he wanted to play with something else. Huh? Now, they tell you when that happens, you're supposed to stop, drop, roll, and get out of there, like when you catch on fire. You know what I mean? But until it happens, you don't know what you're going to do. So with me, I froze up. I knew what was going on wasn't right, but I really just didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But after that, I didn't play at my neighbor's house very much anymore. It's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? And I never told anybody about that. I never told my family about that. Never told friends about that. The first time I told anybody about that was in a room of about 300 people just like me in recovery. Because like we learned in recovery, when you're in groups, the more you speak and open up, the more you're helping somebody in the room help up to speak up. You know what I mean? We can relate to each other, so it makes the other person comfortable to talk. By the time I was always in the church. My grandparents, I didn't want to go. My grandparents made me go. You know what I mean? They was Catholic. So, you got to get baptized. We got to go to church. I'm hiding in my closet. I don't want to go. Look, kid, it's boring. You don't want to go to church. You know, with my church, I didn't. You know, it was boring. So, but they made me go. So, I always kind of had God in my life. You know what I mean? Not that I wanted to, but, you know, you're raised like that. You got to have God, you know? By the time I get to about 10, 11 years old, man, I was already smoking weed and doing cocaine. Now, I was raised on tobacco farm. My last name was Broadus. We got all kinds of tobacco. We used to grow tobacco. So it wasn't nothing for somebody to give you a bump of cocaine to keep you working, chopping, setting, planting, hanging. You know what I mean? You got to get it done. You're on time schedule. Especially when it comes to farming. Smoking weed was the same way. You know, you sit on the back of the tobacco trailer, here, hit this. Stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was normal for us growing up. By the time I was 15, I started going to Coxsey Street Baptist Church. Now, this point in time, I told my grandparents because I wanted to go to church. Really, I did not want to go to church. I wanted to go just because our parents would drop us off, and we would go behind the church and smoke weed, and then go into church and try to holler at pretty girls during the singing and all that. You know what I mean? So, my grandparents thought I was going to get Jesus. I was really going to get high and trying to holler at pretty girls in church. One night, everybody left, and I was left with the youth pastor, right? And we're sitting there, and he was like, "Hey, man, you want to watch this movie?" And he held up the movie Fight Club. It just came out. It was on VHS. I'm showing my age a little bit. Now, at the time, I didn't think that was something a youth pastor should be trying to watch with a 15-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Now that I look back, it's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had that common sense, but I didn't, because you trust people. You see what I'm saying? Even in certain positions. So he turned around, he put the movie in, he hit play, but instead of it being the movie Fight Club, it was two lesbians going at it. Huh? Yeah, that's what I said too. I was like, what the hell? So we sit there, and he was like, "Was this alright?" I was like, "I guess, bro." Like, dang, that's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? What the hell? Right? Yeah, that's all you can do, bro. I was laughing. What the hell? So he sit there and did it, and I had my grandma's cell phone in my pocket, which was the size of a brick back then. You know what I mean? So I set the alarm on my phone for 3 minutes on the ringtone. So when that alarm went off, I grabbed my phone. I'm like, "Yeah, Granny, you'll have me home in just a minute, bub." I'm like, "Hey, I gotta go. My grandma wants me home." You know what I mean? So you sit there. Now, when we go through certain things, especially trauma like that, we'll joke about it, like it wasn't as serious as it really was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And try to play it off. So we're smoking weed at the bus stop next to one of my buddies, and I was like, "Hey, bro, you'll never guess what this pastor did." And they're like, "What happened, bro?" I'm like, "He tried to watch a porno with me." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I swear to God." So I go to school, get on the bus, I go to school and tell everybody. You know what I mean? Because I'm still trying to process it. You know what I mean? I'm laughing. They're like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "That's crazy, ain't it?" You know? And plus I was getting attention. That's, like I said, I always try to seek attention through things that I really shouldn't have. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So my school had out 312, and my ass was always in trouble. You know what I mean? Because I was always looking for attention in the wrong way. And we got out of school at 312. I got called off at 245. I already thought I was in trouble, guilty as charged. You know what I mean? So I get in there, the black lady standing there with CPS, 2 sheriffs, and all 3 principals, and I was like, "Oh, I'm hit." You know what I mean? But what I do, like, I'm already ready just to confess about something, but nobody said anything. The black lady just held up a dog, and she said, "Mr. Anthony, where did that pastor touch you at?" I was like, "Oh my God. Wait a minute, he didn't touch me nowhere," but this is what happened, because I'm still processing it myself, so I'm telling them, and they're like, "Oh my God," and I'm trying to laugh like, "Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it?" And they're like, "This is serious." You know, so he ended up getting fired. My grandpa wanted to kill him, you know. And I tried to go back to church after that, but it was really awkward at the same church. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there, you know, I could be sitting there like this, and then I'd hear somebody behind me like, "There's that boy right there that got touched. That's him." I'm like, "I can hear you, bro." You know what I mean? Like, he didn't touch me. You know what I'm saying? So I let the situation growing up, and my parents didn't raise me. The first time I got molested, and then that situation with that pastor pushed me away from God for a really, really long time. You know what I mean? That's true. By the time I was 18, girl, I was wide open. I started apprenticing at a tattoo shop. Can't tell. Started tattooing, and at that point in time in my life, I was prescribed Xanax bars. Anybody ever heard of Xanax bars?
Yep.
Hell yeah, I just had to make sure I'm talking to the right people.
Yep.
So, I was like, I might be at the wrong meeting. Hold on a minute. You know what I mean? So, if anybody in here's ever done Xanax, you know, we get these bright ideas, right? Do they ever work out?
No.
Hell no. So, I'm sitting there on board one night, I'm watching this crime show on TV. Now, they're talking about these guys getting caught in the counterfeit money ring, right? And it said, it tells you how to make it on TV. In my mind, as being artsy, you know what I mean? I'm like, I can do that. So, because Xanax will lie to you, okay? Yeah. I could do it, but I got caught, right? And if you ever see that show, I Almost Got Away with It, my stories are not that cool to be on that show. You know what I'm saying? So, I was sitting there and they said the guys got caught going to Office Depot and they were buying recycled corrugated paper. Now I'm going to tell y'all this, but don't leave here and do it, okay? The whole point is I got federal charges over it. So I'm like, corrugated recycled paper, okay. And then they're like, well, and then they'd use a laserjet printer to print it out. I was like, well, hell, we got one of them right there. And then they said to make it look real, they sprayed Aquanet hairspray on the front and back, huh? So when you marked it, it looked real. Hell, they just told me how to make a step-by-step on TV. Come on, huh?
Yeah.
My mind thought that was the right thing to do. So I ended up hooking up with an Arab guy in Louisville off Dixie Highway. For every $500 I give him a counterfeit 20, he'd give me $150 cash. Come on, huh? Why the hell am I going to go to work for, right?
Yeah.
So I could do that a couple times a day. Well, one night I ended up being bored out. I was at my grandma's house making it, of all places. Now, she was Jehovah's Witness at this point in time. You know, people get older, they change from Catholic to Jehovah's Witness. So, bless her heart, you know what I mean? Whatever works for you. So, we sit there, and I made it. Now, usually when I get done, I take the paper, I burn it behind the house in the burn pile. You know what I mean? This night, not so much. My brain was really fogged up. So, I just got done making it, jumped in the car with my buddy, we was gone. My grandma comes home from the Kingdom Hall, thought she was saving my life. She saw that I was making this money at her house, so she calls the police on me. She gonna save me, you hear me? Hell yeah. I ended up getting caught with 11 counterfeit 20s. At this point in time, I had been arrested probably 18, 20 times. They just never really pinned something on me, okay? So, the feds come in, everything happens, they finally hit me up. I ended up taking 3 years federal time over that. Straight to Terre Haute, Indiana, I went. Now, I shouldn't have had to do the whole 3, but me, I look for attention in places I shouldn't look for attention. So I got in trouble, I was in prison too. For that too. Huh? Nobody ever sent me money, so we go back to hustling. You know what I'm saying? So I got caught up on that and ended up doing the full 3. I got out. I love Harley Davidson motorcycles, man. Motorcycles is life to me. We're a Harley house. I don't get to ride no more because I got 1,000 kids, but I got it. You know what I mean? It still sits there. But when I got out, man, I ended up getting a motorcycle club. Now, we were going to Detroit. Anybody ever heard of Oxycontins?
Yeah.
The real one?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, my man. So, we were going to Detroit, man. We were picking up 5,000 Oxycontin 80s at once and then driving them back to Louisville. We was getting rid of them. I never really messed with the Oxycontins very much until I saw how sick it made people and how sick it made them call my phone back, right? So, they started making Oxycontins where they gelled up because the company started getting in trouble. You know what I mean? For people dying and everything else. So, nobody wanted them then, right? Well then, we're like, we got to do something different. Then they called the plug up there. So we got some else where you come on up. We got our motorcycle right up there. Now, I don't know what kind of Nazi doctor thought of this idea, but then they ended up coming up with a pill called Opana. Anybody ever heard of that?
Yep.
I heard somebody say something about it earlier.
Yep.
The yellow stop sign 40. And if anybody don't know, it's Oxycontin morphine in a pill. Right? Now, the girl I was with at the time, like, I do meth, but meth just really wasn't my thing. I do whatever you had. But I was a nodder, not a bobber.
Yeah.
I like to be down, I didn't like to be up. So, the girl I was with at the time, she liked the most C80s, and I was giving them to her all the time. So after my panties, I'm like, here, do a little bit of this, tell me if you like it. So she did a little bit, and I saw her head drop. Boom! Now me, as a nodder, that looked amazing. I was like, that looks awesome. You know what I'm saying? That's how we think as addicts. You know what I mean? Like, we're kind of retarded. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be offended, because I'm talking about myself too. So, I did a little bit with her. That night we were on a motorcycle ride. You know, you always have a fan in the window when you go to sleep. Woke up, did a little bit more, went on another bike ride, fan in the window. You know what I mean? I started to manipulate myself, because that third day I woke up, my nose was running, my legs was hurting a little bit. I ain't never been really dope sick, so I wasn't putting 2 and 2 together. And I was like, let's do another one of them. Did one that I was up, felt great, you know what I mean? I'm like, it's just because the fan was in the window and the air was cool that night when we was riding. Hell no. Day 5, I was hit. You know what I'm saying? Full blown, Opana junkie. That's how quick that shit grabbed me. Now, if anybody knows anything about motorcycle clubs, they do not like junkies, right? So I messed that up. You know what I mean? Says I was definitely in my bag for me and her. And I sit there, man, and now those pills were expensive, but it didn't stop there. Her daddy was the vice president of Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. So anytime we needed money, she would just call daddy, and then he'd wire us money to Walmart anywhere in Louisville we wanted, as long as she'd stay away from the house and she wasn't arguing with her mama. You know, he enabled it a whole lot. And I did too, you know. So we sat there one day, she couldn't get no money from her daddy. So I was like, well, look, man, they live in Lake Forest. I don't know, it's a big, rich neighborhood in Louisville. I said, you going to go in that house, you going to take something? He said, I don't know if I'm going to steal from my dad. I said, you going to be sick all day or you going to get high, bud? What you going to do? I don't want to be sick all day. So she goes in the house, she comes back out. She had a presidential Rolex, and it said Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield on the face of it. It was one of his retirement gifts from Anthem. So I'm like, yes, give me that. Jumped straight on the TART bus, straight to 10th and Broadway, downtown Louisville. I said, look, I got this watch. He said, I'll give you $3,000 for it. I said, sold. Do you need my ID or not? You know what I mean? I didn't care. I was sick, bro. My legs hurt. I felt like I had the flu. Sit there, and 2 days later, her daddy hired me to Texas. He knew I took the watch. You know what I mean? I didn't care. She didn't either. She was still right there with me. Ended up getting hemmed up, man, for, what was it? Well, I kind of skipped it. Right before that happened, right, our pain had started to go away. And we sat there, and anybody had, I'm right around the corner dope man in your life. I'll be here in just a minute, I'm right around the corner. 2 hours later, they show up. Because I be the one on the corner going, I'm at the corner and I do not see you, bub.
Yeah.
Well, he showed up. I was full of dope, sick dude going through it. And he pulled up and he said, look, man, about them old panties, you know, they're scarce, so I couldn't get it. I said, why the hell are you here then? You know what I mean? He said, well, look, bro, do a line of this and you'll be fine. I said, I don't know, what is it? He said, just do it. You know, when you're sick, you don't care, bro. You're going to do it. So I snorted that. I got goosebumps. I stopped hurting. And I said, what was that? He said, that's boy. I said, what the hell's boy? He said, heroin. I was like, I don't think I know to be doing heroin, bro. That just don't make sense. You know what I mean? And then that's how he sold me on it, because you know we think is addict. He said, you know the pills you're getting, they got Tylenol and ibuprofen in them and all this? That's just how I'm feeling it. So I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, look, bro, I give you this. This is straight up. You ain't got none of that in it. You give me $65 for a pill, I give you a bag of this for $20, and you're straight. I was like, dang. Okay, well, give me 3 bags of that. I actually got $5. I can buy a pack of cigarettes today. I ain't rolling cigarette butts.
Yeah.
Outside the gas station.
Yeah.
So, we're off on our big heroin adventure. Now, has anybody ever seen the movie Ray about Ray Charles?
Yeah.
Or heard of it?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. I'm watching this movie about a guy who's a multi-millionaire, right? From making music and all this stuff. But then loses everything to doing heroin, shooting it. The only thing I got out of the whole damn movie was, how does he shoot that heroin blind, man?
Yeah.
You know, so I called a buddy of mine, because I hadn't got that far yet. You know, we were still snorting. And he's diabetic, so I know he got needles. So I was like, hey, man, you home? He said, yeah. I said, hey, you got any needles over there? He was like, yeah, why? I was like, I'm trying to shoot this heroin, man. He was like, what? I'm like, yeah. He was like, yeah, right over. I was like, okay. Like, my friends were awesome, right? It was horrible. Who does that?
Yeah.
So he didn't even do it. I ended up getting him hooked on heroin. And thankfully today he's sober. He made it through it.
Yeah, that's what's up.
We talked all the time. But, so I go over and we poked each other probably about 20 times till we figured it out. Once we figured it out, it was off to the races. And then we started to watch all that stuff, and I got arrested. I skipped it. So I ended up taking 6 years for possession of heroin and receiving stolen property over $10,000. I was only out of prison 9 months. You know what I mean? Retarded. If anybody here's ever went to treatment, he said, my hat is off to you, because I would never go to treatment. It took me going to prison twice, man, for a magic to happen, right? I'd sit there, I'd go, but as soon as I get dope sick, the only cool place to go when I was out there was the healing place, and it was right next to Beach Terrace. every dope man in the world right there. All I had to do was leave, walk down the street. Somebody's gonna give me something. That's real. First one's on me, Pin. Oh, hell yeah, it is. Come on with it. You know what I mean? I'm out. So, I sit there and I took that time to calm down. I ended up into a program called Malachi Dads while I was locked up. It's based on the book of Malachi in the Bible, chapter 4, verses 3 through 4, where it talks about returning the hearts of the children to their fathers and the hearts of the fathers to their children. Because at this point in time, I already had 4 kids I was never a father to. I didn't tell you about it in my story yet because I was never a father to them. You know what I mean? That's real, man. I'd always write my oldest daughter lyric when I got locked up. I never write my youngest daughter symphony. I mean, I would, but she never wrote me back. At this point in time, lyric was kind of tired of my shit, as they say. So she didn't write me back, but symphony did. And the letter wasn't very long, you know. She was just like, you know, I really don't care what you did this time, but when you get out, I just want you to be my daddy. Now, for some reason, I had done heard this a million times, but something clicked. You know what I mean? And I owe it to that Malachi Dad's program and getting God back in my life. I sat there, I ended up finishing up. I did 14 months, made parole. They asked me, they said, you want to go to Louisville or Lexington? I said, I don't want to go to any of those places, dude. I want to go somewhere where I don't know nobody. Well, HR Ministry is the one that does Malachi Dad. We're talking about over at the Sober Living House, talking about it. I ended up making parole. I get to the Greyhound station. I'm like, so where am I going? They're like, you're going to HR Ministry, Sober Living House. I was like, is it open? They called. HR Ministry didn't even know I was coming to their house. Dude was in bed. And said, oh, I'll be here in a minute to get him. You know what I mean? Ended up going down there, man. I got to celebrate recovery. I stayed down in Princeton, Kentucky for 2 years, man. And then I met a girl, like we do. At this point in time, man, I met her. I told them, I said, I'm ready to leave. They said, you're not ready to leave. I said, I've been here 2 years. I'm ready to go. They said, you're not ready to go. I said, I'm going. We're hard-headed. You know what I mean? We don't ever want to sit still, man. So I ended up moving back to Bardstown, and we were together for 2 years, married 3 months.
Yep.
That's about how long that lasted, you hear me? So what happened was I was working back at a tattoo shop, man, and I worked really late sometimes. She had been cheating on me, I didn't know about it. So I was at a pool hall, I came home from work one night, and all her stuff was gone. We never fought, never argued, I really didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? So I'm calling everybody, asking if they know where she's at, because I'm codependent as hell. And still today, very codependent. I struggle with it like crazy. Nobody knows where she's at. You know what I mean? They did, but they wasn't going to tell me. So I'm at a pool hall with a buddy of mine, man, and my buddy comes running up. He's like, hey, bro, your wife just pulled up, and the car you bought her was some dude driving it. I said, no. He said, yeah, look, they're right there. Look. So y'all see how short I am. I suffer from little man syndrome too. So I still do today. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? So my shirt comes off. I go outside. I try to get dude out. He won't get out. You know, she's looking over with a shitty grin because she knew what she was doing. My Harley was sitting right out front. You know what I mean? Well, then the police drive by and hit their brakes. Then my buddy's like, hey, bro, they gonna lock your ass up. Everybody knows who you are. You just got out. You know what I mean? You ain't been out long. Everybody knows who you are. You're back in town. They gonna take you to jail. So I'm like, all right, let's go back inside. So we go back inside. Now I'm watching them out the window. And everybody's like, leave it alone, man. They're gonna leave. I'm like, no, because they was both on their phone. You know what I mean? If anybody still suffers from pride and ego that's sitting here right now, I suggest you leave it where you're sitting at when you get up.
That's
okay?
right.
Because it got me in a mess of trouble many times. I had to learn to let it go. They get out of the car, I grab a pool stick like I'm a Jackie Chan everybody in the bar being this big. You know what I mean? That's not what was going to happen, but that's what I pictured was going to happen.
Yeah.
She comes in the door. I wanted to whack her, but I didn't because I was hurt, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest with you. I wanted to, but I didn't. I waited for him to come in the door. When he came in the door, I swung that pool stick around, smacked him right in the face with it. Now, when I hit him, it shattered his cheekbone, broke his orbital socket, and his eyeball flung out of his head. His head blew up like a watermelon, and he started having a seizure as soon as I hit him. But I'm already in that deep, huh? So I'm like, I'm going to hit him again. Luckily, I didn't, because it probably would have killed dude, right? Because everything else was already gone. He wasn't there either. You know, 4 guys ended up jumping on top of me. It probably would have just took like one big guy to put me in a headlock, you know, and just be like, come on, little man. But 4 of them decided to jump on me. Luckily, they did. I ended up weaseling my way out of it, jumped on my bike, and was gone. Like the outlaws in them old cowboy movies, riding out of town wide open. Ow, I was gone. I got closure that night. You know what I mean? I felt better about the situation after the fact. I probably piece of shit for doing that, but I felt better after. I'm not saying ever do that. You know what I mean? But 2 days later, man, I had a detective call me. And if the detective ever calls you, do not hang up on them. They don't like that. Don't be smart and hang up on them. He said, Mr. Brothers, this is so-and-so. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. He said, rumor has it you hit a guy from behind with a pool stick in town. I said, no, that ain't how it went down. He said, well, you tell me what happened. I said, well, I was at a bar. My wife showed up with another guy. Some things got said, somebody got hurt. He said, that ain't how I heard it went down. I said, well, then you better call my lawyer, player, huh? And I hung up on him. Pissed off. You hear me? 2 days later, the Hardin County Task Force raided all 3 tattoo shops the guy I was working for owned, my grandma's house and my apartment. Guns a-blazing. I wasn't at any of those places either. I was at Walmart buying paper towels for the tattoo shop. But my phone's blown up because when they went to the E-Town shop, 3 of the guys at that tattoo shop were sitting in the car smoking weed. They all 3 got arrested. So that shop didn't open up that day. You know what I mean? So the owner's calling me pissed. You got the police here, guns are out there looking for you. Where you at? I went, I'm not telling you where I am. So the guy hit with a full stick, his baby mama, of all people, is the one I called. Because she needed somebody to ride with her from Kentucky to Texas to drop off a rental car and pick up a brand new car her parents had bought her. And it's more salt in his wound, you know what I mean? So I told her what was going on. She said, yep, I'll pick you up here in a few minutes. I said, hell yeah. So she picked me up off to Texas, we went. When we got to Texas, I called the police, and I said, will you all please leave my grandma alone? She is blowing my phone up in a matter of hell. He said, well, where are you? I said, I'm not telling you where I'm at. But Monday, I'll turn myself in. This was on a Friday night. So, at this point in time, man, I get back on a Sunday. I'm with my lady that I'm with now. She's my wife now. We in the truck. We go on and pull out. As soon as we pull out, I get pulled over. My cop walks up. I said, man, look, I was going to turn myself in Monday, bub. He said, we didn't know it was you. You had a headlight out. Huh? I told you I'd never be on that show. I almost got away with it.
Yeah.
We get hemmed up over the dumbest shit, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had a headlight out. I thought I was that important. They knew who it was. Huh? We ain't shit for real. You hear me? Because they know you're going to slip up and just do something dumb, man. You know what I mean? They ain't got to look for you because you're going to get yourself caught anyway.
Yeah.
We think we're that, you know, on that high horse. So I go to jail, man, and, you know, if anybody knows anything about going to jail, I know I was going to get my discovery. You know what I mean? So I ended up getting that. Now in the discovery, it said that she had to fill it out because he couldn't. They had to staff flight him to Louisville from Bardstown because he had oxygen on his brain. He kept going into seizures. So she wrote down in the police report that she was at the bar with her boyfriend and her ex-boyfriend, I was her husband, mind you, hit dude with the pool stick. So in my mind, as being a felon already, know that that's falsification of a police report. Huh? Come on, man. I got a little street smarts in me. So I have my little orange crayon. I'm highlighting stuff in this police report in the cell. I go to court. I'm looking at 20 years. 10 years on PFO, 10 years on assault and second. We're weapon, causing bodily injury. So I have a rinky-dink public defender, man. I'm straight white trash, grew up like that. I still live in a trailer today.
Yeah.
I can't ever afford a lawyer. So I told the lawyer, man, I said, look, can I just talk to the prosecutor? And he was like, I don't think that's a good idea, bud. I said, worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get 20 years. Let me talk to him. I don't want you talking to him. So they put me in a little office with the prosecutor, man. I said, look, man, I know what I did was wrong. I probably should have handled it different. You know what I mean? But I was hurt, dude. You know what I mean? I was like, what would you have done if that was your wife? You know what I'm saying? You can lie to me and tell me whatever, you know what I mean? But at that moment, dude, I was looking hurt, bro. You know what I mean? I just wanted somebody else to hurt. You know, you look at my record, I don't have any assaults, nothing, so I've been drug charges, you know what I mean? And also, I had my grandparents bring me our marriage certificate while I was in jail. I said, look, on this police report, she said we were boyfriend and girlfriend. Here's our marriage certificate. We was married, bud. She lied on that. He was pissed off. You hear me? We go back in court. He's talking to the judge. They looking at me. I'm looking at Tim. I'm in shackles. They looking at me. I'm looking at them again. Finally, Judge said, Mr. Broadus, come up here. I walked up there. He said, I'm throwing this all out on grounds of falsification of the police report right now. If I ever see you in front of me again, I will bury you. Thank you, sir. You hear me? Look, I got to get booked out, or can I just go dressed like this? I'm gone. You hear me? Now, I did, about 2 months ago, get a ticket for no seatbelt in the same county by a state trooper. And on the ticket, he put, go to court. I told him, I said, can you make it where I can pay it before court? He said, it's just a seatbelt ticket. I said, that judge done told me he never wants to see me again. You understand? He said, go to the county attorney and get it done. I did. They let me pay it. You hear me?
Yeah.
Whether it's
Yeah.
or not, I wasn't taking my chances. I don't care. Now, after that, man, how I got into working in recovery, you know, I never looked back, dude. I'm kind of a smart ass sometimes. I still suffer from it. I'm not perfect, dude. I'm telling y'all, man. I sit there and I'm on Facebook one day scrolling, and I see a thing for art. It says, "Do you need help?" I messaged. I said, "I need help with a job. You help with that?" They messaged me back like 10 minutes later. And they said, "What's your recovery date?" I told them 12/28/2012, man. I'd like to work in recovery. I got storage. You know what I mean? I live in Springfield, about 10 minutes from the campus you all got here. They said, "When you come in for an interview?" I said, "I'll come in tomorrow." They said, "Okay." I ended up meeting with Hunter Glasscock, the first director I ever worked for at Crown. I got halfway through my story. He said, "Man, stop right there. You want to work in recovery?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Okay." Well, I tell you this, man. At one point in time in my life, I had one person take a chance on me to be able to be in the position I'm in today. I'm gonna give you that same chance. Come on, man.
Yep.
I started out as a client care specialist at Crown. I worked there 4 months, became business analyst over the biggest recovery center in the country. I was over 600 guys. I was go-between Crown and corporate. I'm reporting if guys got services or why they didn't get services to bill for that. You know what I mean? Now, they gave me that position, and I liked it, you know, but I was tucked away in the office away from all the clients. I wasn't with them. I didn't feel like I was doing the clients justice. So if I'm going to work in recovery, I want to be with the clients. You know what I mean? I miss them.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to his office. I was like, "Look, man, we got to make something shake. I can't do this, bud." You know what I mean? I was like, "We're going to have to do something different." So I ended up getting my peer support certification. Started doing peer support groups. Evolved from that, man. I got certified to get my CADC. Started supervision under Kevin Smith doing that with my CADC 1A associates. If anybody don't know, they have a program where you don't even have to go to college to get your CADC. It's called Diploma to CADC. You just have to be working at a center where you can get your work hours in, keep up with your CEUs, and have an already LCADC at that center that'll do your supervision. You know what I mean? So don't let having to go back to school stop you from doing that. You hear me? It's real. I worked there for 3 years, man. I made a lot of clients, a lot of amazing dudes, man. In the first 2 years I worked there, I met 57 guys that came into treatment that as soon as they left, they were dead. That's real. You know what I'm saying? When I first started working in treatment, Kevin Smith, the first main program director I ever talked to, he said, "You know, working in recovery is a beautiful thing, but you better get used to stepping over the bodies along the way." Working there did that to me, and it's sad that you can say that you become numb to losing clients. You know what I mean? And that's recovery. We're going to lose a lot of people. You're going to meet a lot of amazing people, and you're going to lose a lot of amazing people along the way. I sat there, I worked at Crown, man, for 3 years. I ended up speaking at a fentanyl awareness event at the state capitol building in Kentucky on the steps, and the owner of New Lease Medical Solutions seen me speak there, ended up hollering at me when I was done because she wanted me to come work for her. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that money is why you work in recovery, but money helps at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Keep her, I got 8 kids and a wife, you know what I mean? Like, it helps, you know. So she came at me with an offer, and like I said, I'm a smart ass sometimes. I said, can you tweak it just a little? 5 minutes later, I got another email. She done tweaked it. I was like, So I printed out the offer letter. I took it to the main director at ARC. I said, can you match that? He said, absolutely not, bro. But I hate to see you leave. You know what I mean? But there's no way corporate's going to do that. If you don't sign it, I'm signing for you. So I ended up taking that job, man. I'm a counselor now at Newleaf Medical Solutions in Louisville. Now, it's an MAT place, right? They do Suboxone, Vivitrol, Subucade. I never did any of that when I got sober. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to judge somebody for what they do not dying at the end of the day.
Yep.
You hear me? I'm going to meet you where you're at.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now, you're looking at a heroin addict that used the big book to get sober. Huh? Where they do that at? I speak at AA meetings all the time, and I'm like, look, I got a heroin addict coming to speak at AA meeting. Come on.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yep.
I tell people all the time, if you don't agree with the big book code, find something that you do agree with. You know what I mean? If you don't agree with AA, NA, Dharma, Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery, cool. Go to the meetings, listen, find what you can relate to, take it, and apply it. You know what I mean?
That's
I'm not
right.
going to push anybody out of a room because they don't agree with the way I recover. You hear me? My recovery might get you high as hell. You hear me? But it keeps me sober.
Yep.
Your recovery might not work for me, but it's keeping you sober, so keep pushing with it. You know what I'm saying? You go to so many meetings, and you see them push people away because they're not recovering how they want them to recover.
Exactly.
Why does it matter how they're recovering, Trent? You hitting that coffee pot every 10 minutes and outside smoking every 5, but you don't want to talk about that? Why are you worried about him? Focus on yourself.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If they're staying sober at the end of the day, man, let them run with it. You know what I mean? At least they got it. At least they're breathing tomorrow.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's real, man. I just hate seeing people get pushed away and sober. My way is the only way. No, it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let that pride and ego go, pimp, huh?
Yeah.
That's real. You still got some stuff to work on. We shouldn't be judging anybody anyways in recovery. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We should be trying to help them. We have to meet people where they're at. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I said to her, man, God's gave me a second chance to be a father today. Like I said, when I got with my wife that I'm with now, she's over hiding behind the garbage can. Love her to death, dude. She's my rider. She goes to all these things. Look, sometimes she ain't feeling it, but she goes. She needs a break sometimes, though, man. When I got with her, she already had 3 kids. And they were the same age as my kids, and I missed out on growing up. You know, so I looked at it as God giving me a second chance to be a father again. She ended up getting pregnant. We have our own son together. So it's amazing. It's my dude. He runs me. He just turned 5 the other day. I had my stepdaughter Regan. I've raised her since she was 14 months old. I'm her daddy to her. Her real dad don't come around. You know, so to me, I'm daddy. Today was her 7th birthday. You know what I mean? It's awesome. You know what I'm saying? We got to do that and then come here because they stay with Grandma today. So we can come down here, man, and share with you guys. I love going places and speaking. I love working in recovery because I get to meet with people just like me every day, and I love it. You hear me? People like, what do you do at work? I talk to people about drugs all day. What do you do?
Yeah.
Talk to up at Walmart. You
Yeah.
like it? No.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Come work in recovery, pimp. You got a story, somebody needs to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not bad, dude. You hear me? Because they'll take people at my work, man. And I always tell people, you know, it takes somebody in recovery to help somebody in recovery. It's not
That's
always
right.
the truth. I'm not right. You know what I mean? Just that's how mine works. So that's what I say. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying somebody can't go to school, get a degree, and help somebody. You know what I mean? Absolutely they can. You know, you just got to meet them where they are at. You know what I mean? Let me see. What else? Where we going next? Where we at next? You know?
We're gonna look.
Paying attention. We're coming down here today. I love that y'all had us come down here. It's a beautiful drive. Like I said, it was 2.5-hour drive. We went through Paint Lick. We didn't hit no expressway the whole way here. We was all back roads. The whole way here, I had no idea where we was at. You hear me? I didn't pass no gas stations, no nothing. We passed a state trooper. And then I slipped my seatbelt on. You know what I mean? I would have it still die hard, man. But I love doing this, man. I love helping people do this. Anybody, if I can help any one of you all, please let me know. I'm the Outreach Recovery Coordinator for Them We Fight, which is a fentanyl awareness foundation. We also have a page on Facebook for Them We Fight for Recovery. You can go on our recovery page, post your picture with your sobriety date. We will get you on a poster. We will get you on a billboard, you hear me? To try and help other people see that there is a chance that you can change. Every Wednesday night, man, you can go to Facebook, you can follow me. If not, it's cool, because I ain't shit for real, you hear me? I do a thing called Anthony's Angels, where I have a different mom or father or family member come on and tell their child or relative story that they lost to fentanyl. It's from 6 to 7 every Wednesday. You know, and that's tough. You know, doing this kind of stuff and then hearing those stories on Wednesdays. You know what I mean? It's hard to leave work at home sometimes, or it's hard to leave hearing one of those kids' stories that passed away in the car when I get out to get home. Because I do it from 6 to 7. It takes me an hour to get home. So I do it on my way from home. You know what I mean? I'd be lying if I said I didn't have dreams about some of those stories sometimes, that somebody lost somebody. You know what I mean? Because they do come back. And I can see the story in my dreams. But this is what the big book tells me about God, having God in my life. And this is what I run with. You hear me? It says, ask God in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something that you haven't got. So see to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is a great fact for us. Amen. And then this is why I do what I do, and I take it straight from Dr. Bob's nightmare. Yeah. It says, I spend a great deal of time, which I do, on passing what I learned to others who need it so badly. I do it for these 4 reasons. 1, it is a sense of duty. 2, it is a pleasure. And 3, because in doing so, I'm paying my debt to the man who took his time to pass it on to me. And 4, because every time I do it, I take a little bit more insurance out for myself against a possible slip up. My name is Anthony Broadus, man. Thank you guys so much for having me. Woo!